Okay, Austin from Dragon Co. here again. This is a Niv Mizzet deck that I made some time ago. I think it might have been the second or third commander deck that I ever built to sort of casually play with people in my gaming group, not necessarily at an LGS. So it's not the best constructed deck in the world, and as you can see, I've unsleeved it because I just didn't feel that it was meeting the requirements. It also has a kind of wizard sub-theme. Before I had a big enough collection to really make commander decks, I had a sort of 40-card commander variant that I would play with that same gaming group. And I had an Adelies deck that was a wizard tribal deck, and that eventually became this Niv Mizzet deck because Niv is probably just a better commander for it. So I thought that I would go through the process of sort of upgrading this deck a little bit. As you can see, I've put in a couple cards that I think might be interesting. And that process might be interesting to watch. So we'll put Niv over here, and then we'll lay out the deck. I've mostly sorted this by curve already, although there are a couple of different cards. So as you can see, Lightning Bolt's actually, I think, pretty good. I think people underrate that in Commander, but it's got a shock, which I don't think is a good card in Commander. I think that, yeah, you probably shouldn't be playing shocks if at all you can avoid doing so. So I think, oh, this is still 1 mana. Yeah, that Volcanic Hammer's probably another card you don't want to be playing. I might stretch it enough to say that you probably could have a Lightning Strike. Yeah, you have a Lightning Strike or something similar in Commander. Because especially if you are in red or maybe red-blue, ones that don't... colors that don't have a lot of good removal. I've sort of moved out of the frame here. 3 Piston Fist Cyclops is one that's going to get replaced for sure. Bonus round. I think I might have misunderstood originally a little bit about how Niv Mizzet works. It actually doesn't work with copied spells. Because often, well, unless it says you can cast the copy. So often, right, because it says whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, you may draw a card. So it doesn't even say you may draw a card, it just says draw a card. So you could mill someone out that way. This is up to 4 drops here. Adelies is a 3-drop there. But yeah, you can copy spells and have it trigger, but it doesn't just trigger. You have to cast the copy, which is a bit unintuitive. But hey, I was that's how things work. And then we have just the big spells, and a couple of extra Niv Mizzets, which I'm definitely going to play, even though they're probably not optimal. Land base is mostly basics and guild gates, because at the time, of course, I was didn't have very many dual lands, so I might probably want to put in some duals. Okay, so let's take a look through here and see. I like this curve, honestly, for this type of deck. Again, what we really just want our big payoff to be Niv himself, and if we cast him, we want to be able to get through cycle through a bunch of our spells as we draw them to deal damage to various targets and just sort of machine gun down the board. Now, this has a lot of instants and sorceries and a little bit of a wizard sub-theme. But one thing that I have seen recently is there was this Malcolm and Breaches they have $10 to $20 variants that people make that are basically pinger decks. And I think that might be an interesting way to do it, where you have other things that sort of do Niv Mizzet's ability so that you can actually get enough damage to win the game by casting instants and sorceries and drawing cards. So let's take out some of these more inefficient cards. I don't know which direction to start from, so we'll start from the 1-drops. This card's fun. It doesn't give us a way to untap, so I'll put that in the maybe pile. You draw a card and a creature against flying. I'll also put that in the maybe pile. Also, it's got Rebecca Gay art, which is like dope. Telepathy's good. Unsummon is good. Slip through space, fine. Maximize altitude. I mean, that's basically the same thing as Cloak of Feathers, right? So, Image Crafter. This card was, again, sort of just one of a wizard I could put in there, and it's actually way better in the Malcolm and Breaches deck because you care about pirates. Whereas this deck, it's not actually that good, so I'm going to remove that card. Rapid Hybridization, really good removal spell. Might even put Pongify in. Get to Lava Runner is a fine card in 60 card, especially if you're aggro, but it is not that great in 100 card, doesn't quite do enough. This card sort of fuels our draw, so it goes in the maybe pile. Monastery Swiftspear, probably good enough. I would, again, put it in maybe. So, again, we Rapid Hybridization and probably Unsummon and Slip Through Space are our definites, and then these are the maybes. Shock is going to get cut because, again, it's just not quite enough damage. And Lightning Bolt's going to stay in, though. I think this absolutely ranched. What is this? Unlimited? Is this an unlimited Lightning Bolt? God. Absolutely hammered back there. But that's going to stay in for sure. I think in colors that don't have that many removal spells, there are enough small creatures. This card's also pretty fine. There are enough small creatures that are super important, like Mana Dorks and your Thrasioses and your Tymnas, that all die to Lightning Bolts, that it's probably worth it to play. So you just need some sort of removal spell. Rogue Gloves, another way to draw cards. We can equip it to creatures. That's okay. Vidalian Arcanist, I actually do want to keep this. It's a Mana Dork. It's, in colors that don't usually get Mana Dorks, and it's only 2 mana. It's fine. Anticipate, very good. Instant speed card selection, so we can keep up counter spells. Radical Idea is 2 cards in 1, which is pretty good. Omen Speaker is not great. It is a wizard, but I'm probably going to cut this Omen Speaker. I used to have Omen Speakers in like every deck. I used to think Omen Speakers were great, and now it's like, I'll probably cut this Omen Speaker. Disdainful Stroke, I think a bit underrated in Commander. You want to counter that big splashy spell, that's what matters. Essence Scatter, also very good in Commander. Everyone has a creature spell to cast, so I think Essence Scatter is also underplayed. Naban is going to go in the maybe pile, probably, because I don't know how many wizards I will have entering the battlefield. But I would actually like to keep a little bit of that wizard tribal synergy. Impulse is just better. Anticipate. Blink of an Eye, basically into the Royal. So, good card. Like it. Chart of Course, good card. Especially if we do get aggro. Negate is fine. I do like Negate. Escape Artist. It gives us a repeatable wizard. Probably not very good, though. I'm going to get rid of it. It is unblockable, but we don't have that many things that... If we had something that had synergy with wizards making contact... I mean, of course, the Rogue's Gloves do synergize with actually hitting people. We'll see. Counterspell, perfect. Great. Wonderful Tempest art. This card's a real freak. Lightning Strike... I'll keep a Lightning Strike. 3 damage is good. Goblin Crater Maker. That goes in the maybe pile. Double Cast. We'll take a quick look. We'll see. Get to Chronicler. This card is a wizard. It doesn't really do much unless we kick it, so I'm going to put it in the maybe pile because it's good. Lavamancer's Skill. Creatures. So it's basically the same as that 1 mana thing. If we can get something that untaps when we cast instants and sorceries, this would be good. We'll put it in the maybe pile. Volcanic Hammer we're going to cut. Electromancer is great, and Beam Splitter Mage is a maybe. So far I haven't seen that many cards that we were going to cast on multiple of our creatures. That are good to cast on our creatures. So, got some cuts there. Adelise is good. Is it Locket is alright. it's fine. Good budget ramp. Copy a spell or copy a creature. Is it just creature you control? It's not as good, but it's still pretty good. This one untaps our lands. Perfect. If we can maybe even get a rewind, that'd be great. This one's fine, but we've cut a lot of the wizards already, so I don't know how much a counterspell that does that. Divination is also fine, but there's a card that I definitely want, so we'll put it in the maybe pile, but probably Winged Words is going to replace that. Befuddle, not very good. Prodigal Sorcerer, ew, it's got a bit of dirt on it. I like Prodigal Sorcerer, it's fine. Restore's Admonition, too expensive probably. Yeah, and we don't want to activate that addendum. Curator's Ward, interesting protection spell, but not quite what we're looking for. Jeskai, Wind Scout, I guess that's in here because it has prowess. This shows you how, starting to show how few cards I had. Wizard's Retort is actually pretty good. We'll keep that in the deck. Thought Collapse is okay. I'll put that in the maybe pile. Even Wind Mage. This is basically a prowess creature. It's a little bit better than that Wind Scout, and it is a wizard. So we'll put that in the maybe pile. Exclusion Mage, this is a mana war, basically, that is a wizard. And it actually only affects creatures an opponent controls. So that's good and bad, depending on the deck you're in. Reckless Scholar. We probably don't need looters that cost 3 mana. 3 mana might be too much. Get you Journey Mage. Deals 2 damage to each opponent. Probably not good enough. Direct Current's fine. Because, well, actually, Direct Current will go in the OK pile. We can jumpstart it. Active Treason doesn't really have any synergy in this deck, so we'll put that in the maybe pile. Bonus round, still pretty good, I think, even though the copies don't trigger Niv Mizzet's cast trigger. They are still, you can still copy a bunch of your spells and get a bunch of cool things on it. This is not very good. Sonic Assault, not very good. Enigma Drake's fine, and Piston Fist Cyclops, also not very good. Piston Fist, like Defenders, middling cards. Icy Manipulator, I think, is fine. It actually could prevent you from dying. Murmuring Mystic, I think, is very good. Allows us to actually do something. It is a wizard as well. Copy target instant sorcery spell, so this is basically a fork. And it's a Lord for our wizards. Very good card, I think. And we can put in like a dual caster mage or something. That's basically that. This card is bad. It's a wizard that has morph. It's a wizard. Anyway, we'll put that off to the side. Pyromancer's Assault. This card is fine, I think. And then this card, 3 damage to target player and 1 damage. So it's kind of like a Wrath and a Burn spell. Also not very good, but it is instant speed. So we'll probably be cutting that. Just those cards just don't do enough damage in Commander, those type of cards. This Journey Mage, this is another Mana War, but slightly worse than the other Wizard Mana War Exclusion Mage, which, that came out in the next set. Okay. A 5 mana Wizard Mana War, maybe a 4 mana, probably not what I want. This card's fine, I think. Draw some cards. It's not the best card in the world, but it can be okay. This card, draw some cards, instant speed. This card's a maybe. Probably not enough. The 4 damage to target creature will usually kill a creature, but it's probably not going to be enough to actually make the cut. What does this do? The player copies that spell for each of the creatures who controls that spell could target each player. So this is basically another Beam Splitter Mage. Wherever that this is basically another Beam Splitter Mage. Yeah. So that might be a thing. Although again, I don't have that many like pump spells. I do have some things that give flying and maybe haste. Yeah, I have a couple cards that give flying and haste. These are going in the maybe piles. It depends on if our deck sort of moves in that direction, which honestly I'm not entirely sure it will. But things, they are useful for expedites and stuff. This card is very good. This is our board wipe. It deals damage to creatures and planeswalkers don't control. Right, number of instant sorcery cards in our graveyard. Hopefully, again with our Nivs, just making us draw tons of cards and casting a bunch of instants and sorceries. This card will just get rid of all of our opponent's boards, so it'll be one-sided. Mind's Eye is interesting. I know that I'm in blue, and blue theoretically should be the best card draw color, but this lets you continuously draw cards when you're kind of out of gas. So I'm actually honestly considering it, although it's not the greatest card ever in the world. And then we have a Salvager of Secrets, which is just a fine card. I think that one gets in. So this is our kind of pile right now. These are the good cards. These are our okay cards that we might replace. Oh, this is an extra turn spell. No, it's not. It's a draw spell. So it's like a wheel. Yeah. It's a wheel with assist. That's fine. So these are the spells that we are probably going to keep in the deck. Although, actually, let's... yeah, we'll probably... These ones might get cut as well. So those are the spells that we're going to keep. We've really slimmed things down a lot. So these are definites. These are definite maybes. Also, the other Niv Mizzets are definitely going in just because it's funny. So that's our deck so far. And we've cut quite a few cards, so we're going to shove these off to the side and then look for better ones. So, first thing, we will go to our rare and interesting box that is here. And actually put it in frame. Cool. So this is the rare and interesting box that has white and blue in it. I just got through reorganizing these a little bit, so we'll get down to the blue section here. And all right, so now I can start looking through. Actually, let's do it this way. Put that there. Let's do it here. Okay. Some Sakashima cards. Strategic Planning's good. Preordain is, of course, very good in this type of deck. So we can draw cards. Deranged Assistant might be alright as a little bit of ramp. Thassa would be fine. Sublime Epiphany might just be the nuts. Might just blow out our opponents. Into the Royal. We already have it Into the Royal variant, so that's pretty cool. Ninja of the Deep Hours is also probably fine, but it's not a wizard. Neutralize, very good in that type of deck. Caliphate, and Omen of the Sea is not an instant or sorcery, so this is one of the times where Omen of the Sea ends up being worse. Maddening Cacophony mills our opponent. Ruin Crab mills our opponent. Imprisoned in the Moon is an interesting bit of removal. Yeah, Salvager of Secrets, we already have one of those, right? Yeah. Spectral Sailor's probably worth considering. Runaway Together is also probably worth considering, although not the greatest thing in the world. Chemister's Insight. There we go. Winged Words. That's going to replace our Divination for sure. Frogify. Again, a lot of these are enchantments, which we don't necessarily want. Ooh, there's a cool art for Counterspell. Maybe not use that. Better Prodigal Sorcerer. Spellseeker's probably fine. And it is also a wizard, but I'm going to probably save that for a combo deck. Same with Glenelendra Archmage. Probably go in the same combo deck. Arcane Denial is pretty good. I'll consider that. There's a interesting art for Essence Scatter as well. Cackling Counterpart isn't instant. We can copy our creatures. How many of our creatures are worth copying? We do have the one that jumpstarts that does the same thing. Spell Pierce, Mental Misstep. So those are some other ones. We'll consider a Mental Misstep as well. Probably, I guess a Spell Pierce would be fine to consider. Not terrible. Force of Negation also should probably... It's going to go in a better deck. More Preordains. This card isn't great. Memnonic Deluge. Confiscate's cool. Azure Fleet Admiral could just... Or, not Azure Fleet Admiral. Body of Knowledge could just kill our opponents if we wanted it to. But it could also draw our deck too hard. Return out. This is the instant sorcery. We can kick it. It's a wizard for 2. Probably not look at it. This is a land, so we could probably just put that in and it'd be fine. Yeah. Cherax is fine, probably not great. Perplexing Chimera, if we just wanted to annoy our opponents to death. You know. A land that is also a Force Spike, probably not that great in Commander. Although people do tap out a lot in Commander. Deliberate might be fine. Precognition Field, look at the top part of your library. Cast if it's an instant or sorcery. Future Sight, which is basically the same thing. Oh no, we play Future Sight. It costs a little too much mana. Ray of Command is an instant speed card. Which Memory Lapse art should I try and put in? Yeah, maybe that one. Latinam's Legacy. This is that's a Storm card. Una's Grace. Pester Mite. Another Sublime Epiphany. Shipwreck Dowser, that's just a better version of the Merfolk that we were talking about. Rewind, again, untaps our lands, pretty good. If we had a way to cast spells from our graveyard, that'd be pretty good. Get Probe, Chain of Vapor, again, those are probably going to go in a higher powered deck, but would probably go well in this deck, all things considered, honestly. We don't actually want... We would like counterspells that give us creatures, not creatures that are counterspells, honestly, because we want to cast as many instants and sorceries as we can. Pongify, very good. Another removal spell. We don't have a lot of artifacts, so Metallic Rebuke doesn't do a whole lot. Brainstorm. Yeah, Brainstorm's probably good. Thirst for Meaning. Thassa's Oracle. There's probably a way to mill ourselves and win the game with Thassa's Oracle, because there always is. There's always a way to do that. Don't really care that much. Mirror Maid is a copy artifact or whatever type spell. Didn't say please, just another 3-mana counterspell. This card, I think, isn't bad, actually. Activated, triggered, or legendary spell. So again, in Commander, everyone has a legendary spell to counter. If you're just super mean, Flood of Tears. Return all non-permanents that are in hands. If you return 4 more non-token permanents, put a permanent card from your hand on the battlefield. Is a Tempest a wizard? No, it's just a Sphinx. Drawn from Dreams, that's like super fixed dig through time. Prohibit might be fine. Factual Mana Ward doesn't really synergize. Scour All Possibilities gives us a little bit of potential card draw. Or potential, like, I mean, we're going to hopefully be drawing a lot of cards. Narset might be fine. Yeah. We don't have many real effects, though. We don't have many ways to make our opponent draw cards. We could put Windfall in if I find a Windfall. I do own one. I don't know where it is necessarily. Petitioners. Another Quasi-Duplicate. There we go. Another Game Plan. I don't know how I ended up with a couple of those. Peregrine Drake just seems like... Tidespot Tyrant is like a way to win. I probably should have put that in my Mimeoplasm deck, honestly. Let's see. Bunch of Ixalan cards that are very good. Gain control of target creature. Ooh, if I had the one that does that for a bunch of different things. There is a dig in here, but that's going to go in my Yuriko deck. Time Warp. Yeah, Time Warp's good. Also going to go in my Yuriko deck. Don't have enough artifacts for Thoughtcast. Turnicide. Oh, there's another misstep. And Back to Basics. With our current mana base, Back to Basics isn't that bad. Just make everyone hate us. I don't know. It doesn't really synergize with the rest of our strategy, so it might not be worth it to actually play that Back to Basics, but it's really funny. Only the person playing Back to Basics thinks it's funny. Everyone else hates them. This is my black and red box. Our black and red box. Anyway, this is my black and red box. Let's move to red. So what we want to do is we want to have cards that deal damage with casting spells here. So we want cards that will untap or will, like a Gutter Snipe type effect that will ping our opponent each time that happens. Flame Blast Dragon. Some Gobodins that aren't great. Anger's interesting. Crater Maker. Chain Lightning. Some Manic Vandals. We could probably put in some effect that blows up artifacts. Like Smash to Smithereens, honestly, wouldn't be terrible. Hobbled Effector's interesting, but again, we're drawing a bunch of cards. Yeah, some gut shots. That's what we need. We need lots of gut shots. How else are we going to draw cards? Spear Spearer doesn't untap with our spells being cast. Faithless Looting's probably good, though. Looting. Some more Faithless Lootings. Ghostfire. Chandra's alright. Blasphemous Act. We'll consider it as another way to board wipe. Explosion of Riches. Explosion of Riches is fun. I might cast it. Maybe not. Yeah. Court of Ire, probably not quite doing what we want to do. So maybe all the cards I have that are synergized with this. Fiery Cannonade, another kind of board wipe. Fireball that's got X and Y. Maybe all the cards I have that synergize with this I have already used. It's possible. I wouldn't like that, but Mob Rule. Yeah, maybe. Risk Factor's interesting, but probably not that great in this deck. Rolling Earthquake, that's another board wipe. I could have cards with Horsemanship and do really well. Yeah, Arclight Phoenix, Lava Coil. I don't know how well Arclight Phoenix actually works in Commander, especially when I don't have that many discards synergies, the way that I've set the deck up. I could probably set it up to work for that. Don't necessarily want to. Volcanic Salvo. Total power of creatures I control, not that great. Tower of the Peaks is interesting. Fiery Emancipation. Gosh, where are the cards that do the thing I want them to do? They're probably, honestly, they're probably in the random common and uncommon box. Light Up the Stage is interesting as well. Either Smash to Smithereens. Thrill of Possibility. I mean, that's a way to put something in the graveyard if I want to. I could thrill it into the graveyard. So if I did want to try and throw my Arclight Phoenix in there, probably not the best strategy. These are a bunch of foils that don't matter. A Glenthorn Buccaneer is interesting. Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of the pingers in here. This pings if someone dies. Planebound Accomplice. Yeah. Cavalcade of Calamity. Spear Spearer just pings. It doesn't quite do what we want. We want it to ping either on cast of instant and sorceries or to tap and then untap when you cast an instant or sorcery or something like that, something similar. Basically Thermo Alchemists. Well, we basically want a Thermo Alchemist. What does this do? You're from the battlefield, but okay. Goblin Dark Dwellers, basically Snapcaster Mage. Borrowed Hostility, Reckless Cohort, love that card. Not quite good enough. Thunderous Wrath, only 5 damage there. Okay, well, yeah. So the problem with the red there is that we're gonna need to dig through the common and uncommon box. Next, we'll take a quick look at the Izzet cards, though. We'll keep looking at the rares first, but yeah, we're gonna need to dig through some commons and uncommons to probably find a good enough pinger so that we can actually close out this game. This is the green and multicolored section, so we're trying to find Izzet, which is here. Wow, all right, nice. Yeah, what Izzet cards are there? Okay, Ride Down. Invert, Invend. That doesn't quite work like you want. Double Negative is interesting. It's fun. 1,000 Year Storm would be a way to win the game. Zara is a card for your hand onto the battlefield. Probably fine. Swerve is interesting. There we go. Oh no, is it static because it doesn't deal damage to players? Electrolyze and Ionize are both interesting cards that do cool things. Beacon Bolt on the graveyard, but it only deals damage to creatures. Another Niv Mizzet. That's legal to play, right? Saheeli probably is actually very good because we can just make a bunch of servos and then do something. That's banned in Commander. Improbable Alliance, same thing. Maybe we just make tokens. Ral's cool. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. So Ral actually does win the game for us. I think I have... we'll just put this Ral in. I think I have one of the Secret Lair stained glass ones. But we'll just put that one in. Mind Wipe, counter target spell, blah, 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 blah. This card is not very good. Alright, we'll do that. And then we'll take a quick look at the artifacts. Maybe we'll have a cool artifact that we can make Ral, or make what's his name? Make Saheeli. It's her name. What's her name? Make Saheeli copy. Lightning Greaves, we want that. That's the first one that I pull out there, of course. This is our artifact in promo. Actually, let me see first if I have that Ral. I probably do. Here those are some other ones. Rats, Teo, Jace, Ral. Yeah, we do have one. So I could do this. We'll put this over to the side. Yeah, we'll use the fun Ral. Why not? Right? I have it. How often am I going to use that Ral? Watch, I make a deck that uses Ral like way better. In like 4 minutes. Like the next one I make. Heraldic Banner, Scurvling Claws, Mana Geode's probably fine, but not exactly what we're looking for. These are a bunch of not particularly useful artifacts for our... maybe a Prismatic Lens? I don't know, though. I probably want to draw a card, so probably... what's the one that draws a card when it ATBs? Does Prismatic Lens actually do that? Am I misremembering how Prismatic Lens works? Ah, yes, we should play Snowlands and have Arkham's Astrolabe. Golem's Heart, Isolation Cell. Jeweled Amulet's probably fine. Do we have the... Is it Talisman here? Nope, doesn't look like it. Hey, there's the Wand again. Scrollac probably is good. Although it doesn't draw the cards. Whenever you activate an ability... Okay, you have to activate the ability. Commander Sphere. That's a good rock. And we have a bunch of them. Codex Shredders. Maybe one of the diamonds. Who knows? Armillary Sphere. Arcane Signet. Goes in every deck ever? Yeah. Ah, yes. Grafted War Gear. Perfect. Fire Diamonds, maybe? Like, we might put in the diamonds as mana rocks. To be cheap. To be super cheap. Prophetic Prism. Okay, Prophetic Prism is the one that it fixes mana, but it draws a card. There we go. Put in a Prophetic Prism. Put in a Thought Vessel. That's probably very good. No maximum hand size. We want that in this deck, right? Spectral Searchlight. Yada, yada, yada. Diamonds and other rings. Mask of Memory. That's, I mean, basically Rogue's Gloves, right? There's a lot of artifacts to look through here. And not a lot of them are actually particularly good for what we're doing. Pyrite Spell Bomb. You can Pyrite Spell Bomb. I don't know how useful that actually would be. Springleaf Drum. Mishra's Bauble? Do I... Dramatic Scepter? I don't have that many mana rocks. That probably goes... I was going to build a Jeskai sort of artifact-y, spellsy deck, prowessy deck. So that probably goes in there. Is honestly where it goes. See, I have ideas, and so now I'm just going past good cards that probably could fit in this deck. Do I actually have... I know I have one of the talismans. Do I actually have an Izzet Signet in here? I know I have an Izzet Signet as well. I do, like, I have them. They exist. They are cards that I own. There we go. We're at the end of the artifacts. So apparently I didn't have the Izzet Talisman available. Command Tower, that's a good one. Probably should have a Command Tower in my mana base. Same if I get the temples. Those are some common and uncommon lands. Let's look at, see if we can get to the rares. Yeah, there we go. There's a Temple of Epiphany. Scry land, not the best, but doesn't hurt, I don't think. Command Beacon, there we go. Training Center. And that's probably the lands we're going to get. Actually, we could put this Cascade Bluffs in. Might as well try it. We just made Back to Basics so much worse. So much worse. Back to Basics unplayable now. It's not unplayable, but not nearly as good. Okay, that's most of that. I don't think we have many pingers in the promo section here. Yeah, so I guess we'll look in Commander decks next. So this is the Commander Precon box. It's hanging off to the side. Now, are there actually any Commander Precons that are sort of spell slingy? The Savine one, isn't it? Savine one? So this is the Zendikar Rising ones. And then there's the new ones. The Gavi one might also be. So let's look at the Jeskai. But the Jeskai ones. Those are spell slingy-ish. Dinosaur Cats. Trilobite. Only activate mana abilities. Or whatever the heck that said. I mean, yeah, that'd be a good one. I should probably put that in some deck. I'm just skipping by all the good cards, and everyone's like, what are you doing? Stop. There is a Windfall. Could put in a Windfall. If we have Windfall Narset, our opponent just dies. That's not entirely true. Ooh. Yeah, Locust God. That seems real good. Maybe the way we win is by making a ton of tokens. Token creatures. Mercurial Chemister. Hey, there's another Niv Mizzet. And I bet there's an Izzet Signet. That's the one we needed. Whenever you draw a card. Psychosis Crawler. There we go. A way to win. Did I pass up a Psychosis Crawler in the artifacts? Am I that much of a fool? Am I just a fool? I don't honestly know how much these cycling lands we want. I'll think about them. Like, they seem good, right? Like, if we draw a card, we ping our opponents. We get through some things. I might have just tucked myself into them, but I also just went past them, so, you know, I'll come back to it later. We'll think about it. Kadina's Silencer. Leadership Vacuum. It does just draw a card. It's like on summon that draws a card. Only opponent has drawn this turn. Hate Mirage. Yeah. Skirtiller doesn't quite do what we want to do. We're not playing a plans. Reality Shift, another good removal spell. Willbender, best removal spell in the game. It's always Willbender. Garrett's, okay. Populate. Chromeshell Crab. Echoing Truth isn't that bad either, but only if our opponents are playing a token strategy. Or our opponents have a bunch of Soul Rings. Yep, lands. Paramacon. Okay, so the Savine deck is actually still mostly intact. Is that what I'm seeing here? Or am I... Yeah, okay. Refuse to comply. You may choose new targets for the copy. Or refuse to cooperate, sorry. That's not bad, honestly. That's fine. There's another leadership vacuum. Fact or fiction. Doesn't quite draw cards. Doesn't quite do what we want. What does this do? Oh, cast a spell from your graveyard. Talrand. Talrand's good. Always want a Talrand. Chemister's Insight. We already have one of those. Burning Vengeance. Don't have that many flashback spells, honestly. Armillary Sphere. There's another... Oh, there's an... Is it Locket? What? Why did they put... Okay. Did they just intentionally make this deck bad? Why is this deck so bad? It's got Dockside Extortionist, that's why it's so bad. Why did they do that? Okay. Anyway, I don't think there's a whole lot, honestly, in Commander 2018 that we want. So that's our sort of Commander deck looks. Now maybe I do want to look and see if I can find like I say, a pinger. Because we have a bunch of token makers, which are actually pretty cool. I do like token makers. But I want to see if we can get... This deck kind of relies on the fact that you can make some of these cards pirates, so that you can get the mana source. But like, yeah, Gutter Snipe, that was from the Commander 2018 one, so... a Thermo Alchemist type effect. Firebrand Archer. I have one of those hanging out somewhere. Havoc Jester. Oh, there we go. Bittersplit Gremlin. That takes a lot of mana, though. Bitterspit Gremlin. Yeah, so we could do Bitterspit Gremlin, maybe. And what was that one I was just... Oh, I was going to look at the Mystery Boosters. Let's take a look at the Mystery Boosters real quick, see if there's some cool cards for us in here. Young Pyromancer. Could do that. Again, could do the just tokeny type of thing. Fire Ice is a very good card. Actually, might just consider playing Fire Ice. Oh, I have a Taurian Mauler. Oh, I didn't even realize I had a copy of that. That's really good. Rage Reflection is interesting. Steamflogger Boss, dope. Perfect. Another Gut Shot, great. Absolutely exactly what we wanted. Kiki Jiki. These are sticking together a little bit. This is why you don't have this is why you don't sleeve your decks in penny sleeves. Ugh. Okay, well, we're still going. I maybe should have Somber Hoverguard. That has affinity. Wow. Traction Helix isn't very good. Another Memory Lapse. Augur of Bolus. Okay. Then we'll look at the... I guess there are artifacts in here as well. Look at the red cards. It's possible that we could get a one of those friggin' Thermo Alchemist. It's possible there's an Thermo Alchemist in here. Emrakul's Hatchling, Swift Kick. Burst Lightning is probably honestly fine. But we have better cards. Smelt. Do we have other ways to destroy artifacts? With a red deck that doesn't destroy artifacts is a badly made red. Oh, I did have that card actually. I had the card that has Replicate, the red card. Hypothesizzle. Mercurial Geists. Probably not that good. Zertod Druid. Yeah. Okay. Were the Replicate spell not in here? Did I put that in a different deck? Oh yeah, I might have put it in. We're gonna put Young Pyromancer in there as of just in case. Okay, well, I'll pull out some common and uncommon things and see if we can find a Thermo Alchemist like effect. Get in the stuff from, I believe this is 2018, 2019 stuff. Are there any pingers in Battle Bond? There are pingers, but are there pingers that do what we want? Lightning Talons, Pathfinder Initiate. Shambling Ghouls. Battle Rattle Shamans. No, yeah, there aren't pingers. Could have a Gutter Snipe from Core 2019. I probably don't. I probably have used them. Catalyst Elementals. Yeah, no. Another Smelt. There we go. That's exactly what we needed. Some Trumpet Blasts. Okay. Dominaria. Did that have any pingers? Have this other goblin. It had some of these Gitu ones. Run amok. I know what most of these cards do, so I apologize if I'm skipping through them a bit too quickly. Or not too, a bit quickly, I suppose. I mean, I don't think it's too quickly. What does Lightning Rig Crew do? I forget. Brazen Freebooter, Buccaneer, Loveland Trailblazer. Ah, yes, just Shatter. Worse Smelt. If we have an Izzet Charm hanging out somewhere, that'd be really good. Might be in Double Masters. I might need to look in Double Masters, honestly. There's probably some cool Doubles Masters stuff that I'm just missing. Demolish isn't good. Headstrong Brute, Hijack, Lightning Strikes. Rummaging Goblins. 2 damage. Not enough. Apparently I forget where Lightning Rig Crews are. They're in some set. Okay, well, it might be Guilds is probably a better place to look, although I know I don't have Electrostatic Field. I only had the one that I put in that other deck, so yeah, you know, that's how it goes. Alright, well, no, nothing in there. War of the Spark, I don't think had any. Yeah, this is... We're gonna be casting some Bitter Split Gremlins, boys. That's what's gonna be happening here. Raging Crunch. I mean, the Spell Gorger Weird can get pretty big, but not quite what we're looking for. More Spell Gorger Weirds. Tybalt's Rager, some Turret Ogres. Nope, not quite. So, there's more red cards in here than I thought. On-Crop Invader doesn't do it. Blind Blast doesn't do what we want. Burned Prophet's about attacking. It only increases its own power. Pyrelix is actually pretty good, but not quite what we're doing. Demolish is still bad, even this late. Grim Initiate, also pretty good, but not in this deck. Honor the God Pharaoh amasses. So, there we go. Alright, well, this box is a bust. So, time to go to the next box. That's just how it works. Sometimes in these, when you're looking for cards, right? That's, you'll get through everything and you realize that you don't quite have what you want. Modern Horizons, you'd think that Modern Horizons would have something for this type of scenario. Mentions Jared Carthalion. Geomancer's Gambit isn't a bad card. Igneous Elemental. Sinkhole's good. What does this one even do? What? Oh, interesting. Cowards can't block warriors. That's just true in general, right? Throes of Chouse is pretty interesting. Seems pretty fun. Bashino. Okay, so not quite. And I remember the elemental that was in the Izzet slot in there wasn't particularly what we want. And I actually had thought that there was that Arcoria was in this box, but it is not. It only goes up to Theros here. So this is Eldraine, which I also thought has a spells matter type of thing. Fling, Iron Crag Feet. Although we did, I guess it was more of a +1/+1 counter when you draw cards type of thing. It didn't really ping. Iron Crag Pyromancer did. Maybe that was one I should have, but it's just bolts things. It doesn't deal damage to each opponent, which is kind of what we're looking to do. 7 Dwarves. Slaying Fire. Alrighty, well, not seeing a whole lot, honestly, that does the type of stuff we want to do, and there wasn't really much of that in Theros here. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to pack up the common and uncommon box and get our double masters commons and uncommons here. Look through these real quick. If we get an Izzet Charm, those are artifacts right there. Yeah, those are artifacts. As double masters was about. If there's another Izzet Charm in here, that'd be pretty dope. No. Okay, no Izzet Charm. And then there might be a pinger. I don't know. Double Masters, of course, was more about artifacts, but it also had a sort of spells matter sub-theme. Bloodshot Trini, Dismantle, Thinking, Gremlins. Nope, no. Okay. Not quite what we're looking for there. So, do I even want the Bitterspit Gremlin, or should I just sort of lean into the tokens, wizards and tokens? I might just do that. I might just have failed to find some of the cards I was looking for there, and change my strategy a little bit because of that. Yeah, is there anything? Yeah, I'm not even going to grab the Bittersplit Gremlin, but I am going to go back and see. I believe I had an Iron Crag Pyromancer in this box somewhere. And I will grab that Pyroceratops. Because that's the second card drawn a turn matters. Which isn't the best way to do it, but we do have a lot of ways to draw cards. So let's see if we can find it. Okay. Come on, you stay. There it is, Iron Crag Pyromancer. I'm going to put this box back away. Whoop. Alrighty. And yeah, whenever you draw your second spell each turn, 3 damage to any target, so... Or second card each turn. So, yeah, good. So, I'll organize things a little bit here and then get to rebuilding this deck a little bit. So let's see what we can do. So now that we have our definite cards, we have our maybes and new additions here, we can... I'm going to organize them into piles based on what they do, and then we'll see what happens. So our nivs are our finishers, so that's our finisher type thing. We have some card draw. This is removal. This is sort of a combos of pingers. So draw cards. This is kind of removal. This is a wheel effect. This is card advantage, so it gets our cards back. Removal, board wipe is removal. This is just sort of generic card draw. So we'll put these here. This is all in. Yeah. Put those there. Okay. This is just like value. And then this is our token makers. This is a beater. We might cut the Enigma Drake, honestly, now as a beater. Copy spells, just value. Wizard's Retort. Counter magic is basically removal. Pings. This is a counter spell. This is value. This is sort of a value damage. I guess that goes in beaters. This is basically a ramp spell. Goblin Electromancer. This is a value spell. Removal spell. Removal. Card draw. Card draw. Card draw. Card draw. Removal. Card draw. Card draw. And this is also a ramp spell. So now let's see what type of cards we have in here that we might need. This is a pinger type thing. Let's see if we can get some token mate. Let's see if we can get some of the token makers in first. We probably have enough straight up removal. So let's see. Young Pyromancer as a token maker. Good one there. Talrand, very good one. One of the best, in fact. Is it Signet is some ramp. We probably need some ramp. Pinger, that's a way to win the game. Locust God, token maker. Windfall is just good. These are lands. We probably want all of those. Thought Vessel is ramp. Arcane Signet is ramp. Lightning Greaves is protection, just general value. Ral is a pinger. Improbable Alliance is a token maker. Sahiwi is a token maker. That's a counter spell. Swerve is interesting. 1,000-Year Storm, we might try and ramp into that. We probably aren't going to play Back to Basics. Narset's probably good if we are actually going to play a wheel. Tail's End, Pongify, Rewind, Shipwreck Dowser, Memory Lapse. Probably not going to play Ray of Command, we'll see. These cards are just generic value because they are also lands, so that's pretty good. Preordained, Strategic Planning, just our sort of card draw, rip through our deck. Deranged Assistant, I don't know if we need that. This is a finisher, Sublime Epiphany is. Into the Royals are same sort of card draw removal type thing. Chemistry's Insight probably costs too much. Winged Words, we're just going to put in. And then Scour All Possibilities and Prohibit. Put both those in, why not? Blasphemous Act, I don't know if we need another board wipe, but it's probably not bad to have. Explosion of Riches is fun, maybe doesn't work. Double Negative is basically a counter spell. 1,000-Year Storm is another way to end the game. Electrolyze is good, I don't know why I didn't just put that in. Fire Ice is also just super good value. Does a bunch of stuff for us. Pyromancer's Assault, notably, only triggers on the second spell cast. It doesn't matter if you cast more than that. So, it's kind of unfortunate in that way. Yeah. Let's see how many cards we have now. Honestly, just let's see. Because we got a good way to cycle through our deck. We don't actually make a lot of wizards, though. This wizard synergy thing might have to go away. I might have to just cut that. Make that a different deck at some point down the line. So, let's see. And our curve is pretty low, I think. We want probably about 60 some odd cards, 64. So, in fact, I think this is too many cards. So we might need to try and just cut down the wizard sub-theme, not have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, and 70. So we probably want to cut about 30 lands. Actually might not be terrible in some decks. We probably want to cut 4 or 5 cards here, which I think I'm going to cut that wizard package that I had talked about. So unfortunately, probably a lot of the wizards here are going to get the axe. And let's see. So the Locust God. So cards, Enigma Drake is probably going to get the cut. Doesn't do it as much. Adelice is probably going to get the cut because she's fine, but she only pumps wizards, and the tokens we're making, servos, fairies, insects, drakes, elementals aren't wizards. Now some of these cards are wizards. In fact, Talrand is, but yeah. Adelice isn't pumping as many of the things as we want them to. Obviously, Salvager of Secrets is and stuff like that are fine. But we're going to cut Naru Meha. Now, she is actually still really good in this deck, even without some other wizard support, but I do want to save her for the wizard deck. Quasi-Duplicate, in fact, we probably don't need that as a card. And then we do have some other wizards. All these other cards, yeah, like this Ironcrag Pyromancer is a wizard, so Adelice would pump it. I don't know how... Sorcerer's Wand. We'll cut Sorcerer's Wand because that card doesn't do anything. So that can go in the wizard deck as well. Like Shipwreck Dowser is a wizard, so is Salvager of Secrets. They're both wizards. But, again, I don't know how often we're going to get Adelice, and we probably want to focus more on the instant and sorcery type stuff. And I think that's honestly a pretty solid deck right there. Take out these 5 cards. We had 70 cards, so now we have room for 35 lands, which is a pretty good deck size, in my opinion. Let's lay out the curve a little bit. Let's see what we've got. This could be a 1 or a 2 mana spell, or a 1 or a 3 mana spell, sorry. 2 or 3 mana. God, if I could only speak today, I would be so much better. We have some counter magic. Lots of counter magic, lots of cards that just generically draw us card. Ionize is fun. There we go. Lots of cheap removal, lots of cheap counter spells. This card probably is 6 mana. Double negative is interesting. I think honestly in Commander double negative is actually probably better than most other places. This is 2 mana, no matter which way we cast it. It's 2 mana card draw. Running out of space here. 1 mana. 1 mana. Now the problem might be having creatures to cast these on, although we can cast them on our opponent's creatures on our turn, so it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. Winged Words, hopefully that's a 2 mana spell, but we'll treat it as a 3 mana spell for now. Big cards. Bonus round is 3 mana. Double cast. Windfall. We do have Windfall Narset, which is mean, but what's the likelihood that we get that in a game? Probably not very much. These also count as lands, which is super nice. Prodigal Sorcerer is also a wizard. Psychosis Crawler is how we win the game. So yeah, I think that Godwin Electromancer and this Voldalian Arcanist. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe Adelice didn't need to be cut, but I'm still going to go ahead and run it this way. Niv Mizzets are also wizards. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong. And it doesn't need that. But it's also entirely possible that I am correct. You know, I mean, how often, like, I think I need more wizards and fewer instants and sorceries. I think this deck is probably going really in. I mean, it is. This deck is going really in on the instants and sorceries and really in on the drawing cards, and less so in on the wizards. So these are 5+ mana spells. I think honestly that's a good curve. Like 2 mana a lot. So what I'm gonna do is I have this box of sleeves here. And I am going to use these nice purple ones that I specifically saved for this deck because they are purple is blue and red. So we'll sleeve this deck and come back and do some testing. I'm going to cut... Actually, I might just keep the guild gates in. I'll probably keep the guild gates. I'll cut 4 basics. Yeah, I'll cut 4 basics, 2 mountains, and 2 islands. And, yeah, come back with that. All right, now we're back with a shuffled and sleeved deck, and I'm going to do a couple of goldfishing games, some testing games. Some of you also might have noticed that I did swap out the stained glass RAL because it's a bit too curved, and I need to flatten it out before I can actually put it in the deck. I also am a little bit disappointed that Adelise, you know, I decided to cut it. It is kind of a hard decision. Ultimately, I think that the direction I was going and the direction my cards have, the direction my cards led me, makes it so that this doesn't work. I think if I was going to, I'll probably make this deck at some point in the future. And if I was going to do that again, I'd probably lean all into like the curve topping at 3, essentially, maybe a couple 4 mana cards like a Narumeha or whatever, to have in there, but just a bunch of cantrips, bunch of cards that just cycle through the whole deck so that you can make a giant wizard and smack people with it. And I think Adelise being in the command zone would be very good for that, not necessarily her in the deck. So let's see how we do here. I actually didn't have enough basic lands, so I had to put in another one. This is a fine starting hand. It's a bit boring to show on camera. Let's just see it for a little bit. Our opponents probably aren't going to be casting any 4 mana cards soon. We'll draw a card. And then play a Highland Lake, since it's the card that we have that comes into play tapped. Then we'll untap and draw a card. That's a fine one. We'll play a Mountain. And pass. And then at the end of one of our opponent's turns, we will Impulse to look at the top 4 cards and pick one to put in our hand. I might pick this Negate unless... because we're going to draw a land, probably, regardless. And then we're pretty fixed for Niv Mizzet, so we probably don't need a land. I'll probably take that Negate because it's easy to cast. Put those on the bottom. We'll untap. Draw our card. It's a game plan, a wheel effect. Not exactly what we were looking for. We'll play a Cascade Bluffs. And then pass the turn. I'm going to assume sometime during that turn I will negate something. And then, for the sake of just getting the card out of our hand, we will probably rapid hybridization one of our opponents, like Mana Dorks, or some sort of acceleration or thing that might hurt us later in the game. And then we'll go ahead and untap, draw a card. Apongify. Okay. Bonus round is a sorcery. Okay, we'll play a Training Center and then pass. And then at some point, we will Disdainful Stroke. Again, that's just assuming. It's hard with counters to determine when you're actually going to use them. An island. Go ahead and play that for turn. We'll ask our opponent we'll ask someone if they want a wheel. Probably not. And then, yeah, we'll pass the turn. Draw a card. We'll just play this Mountain. And then cast Niv Mizzet as soon as we can. So I believe we have enough. That's a red, blue, 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 red, red, right? Because we tap this for blue, blue. And then we cast Niv Mizzet. And he immediately gets killed, is the way that that would work. But we'll go to our next turn. Assume that doesn't happen. We'll play an island. We will cast Cloak of Feathers on Niv Mizzet, which will trigger him multiple times. We will draw a card and ping something. We will then draw a card from Cloak of Feathers and ping something. Okay. Well, I don't have a lot of mana. Do we just try and machine gun the board? Use this mountain to filter into red, red. And another red. To cast bonus round, trigger Niv Mizzet, draw a card, and ping something. And then we will Pongify twice. Which will trigger Niv Mizzet once, draw a card, and ping something. Lucas God, that's really good. And then we will cast Radical Idea, which will trigger Niv Mizzet, draw a card, and ping something. And then it will cast twice, so we'll draw 2 cards and ping 2 things. I think that's a pretty good turn. We'll attack with Niv Mizzet. Alright. It's doing things, the deck is. Untap, draw a card. That fucking... I think we have to cast Thousand Year Storm. Like, we're contractually obliged to. Do we have... We don't have any counterspells. So we'll Guildgate and then Thousand Year Storm. 5, 6 mana. Thousand Year Storm. We'll pass the turn then. Thousand Year Storm with Ral potentially wins the game. Draw a card. Yeah, we'll just play that. Why not? So we'll Ral. We'll minus Ral. Copy that spell. So we'll anticipate. So we'll copy this anticipate. That'll trigger Niv Mizzet and Ral twice. Because I cast, whenever you cast or copy, so yeah, Ral twice. So triggers Ral twice, Niv Mizzet. Look at the top 3 cards. That could be better. Probably. No, we'll take them. We'll take a memory lapse. Sorry, take a memory lapse. And then do it again. Take a slip through space. Okay. And then we will cast a slip through space, targeting Niv Mizzet, so it can't be blocked. That will trigger Ral once. It'll get copied one more time, so we'll trigger Ral again, and it'll trigger Niv Mizzet. So we'll draw a card from Niv Mizzet, and then we will cast slip through space twice. So we'll draw 2 cards. Okay. And then we will scour all possibilities, which will trigger to Mizzet again, copy this twice, and then trigger Ral 3 times. So we will draw a card from Niv Mizzet, ping someone, scry 2, bottom, top, draw a card, ping someone with Niv Mizzet, scry 2, top, bottom, draw a card, ping with the Niv Mizzet, and then scry 2, top, bottom, draw a card, ping with Niv Mizzet. Yeah, seems good. And then we'll have to discard a hand size. So that game seemed to go pretty well. Again, if Niv Mizzet gets to live. Let's try another game, another shuffle up, and then yeah, I think the deck works fine. It's not the most powerful build of this deck so far, especially because we did draw a lot of the top end and a lot of the sort of reactive spells early. I suppose it probably is good to have Arcane Denial. So, like, if I could... I have a purpose for that Arcane Denial. It's going to go in a Yuriko deck, as I said. I believe I said that. So if I end up with another Arcane Denial, it probably goes in here, because you must want to draw cards. If you can get counter spells that draw you cards, then that's just kind of what this deck wants. Removal spells that draw you cards. Niv kind of does that on his own, though. So let's see what this hand is. Not great so far. 2 lands. Nope, that's probably not keepable. Yeah, that would have been bad. Alright, well, free mulligan. That's how this format works. We lose a card there. Cool, cool, cool. Isn't shuffling fun? Shuffling is exactly what everyone wants to do with 100 card decks. Just shuffle all day long. 7. That's fine so far. It's not the best. That's just 5. 2 more. I'm willing to chance this, but it's not great. Yeah. Alright, let's go. Draw a card. Mounted, go. Draw a card. Mountain Thought Vessel, so at least we won't be discarding when we don't draw an island. Untap. Draw a card. Yep, alright, well that's bad. That's real bad. Alright. Young Pyromancer. Pass turn. Untap, draw a card. Yeah, okay, well. Super punished. Super punished for that. Alrighty, well, you know. That's how it goes sometimes. I mean, that keep was a bit greedy. Like, it had ramp. It had one thing that worked. It probably wasn't a great hand to keep in general. I thought that it would be fine. But I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. And sometimes you just are. Sometimes you get rewarded for keeping like that, sometimes you don't, but you probably just shouldn't. Let's see what happens if I mulligan here. Okay, so we'll take the mull on this one. This hand's way better. Fire Ice is a removal spell and a draw spell, so I guess I'll put the Rapid Hybridization on the bottom. Alright, let's go. We'll draw a card. Play an island. Pass turn. Draw a card, play a mountain, play a Pyromancer. Plans have changed. Untap, draw a card. Play an island, then a Thought Vessel. Unfortunately, we can't keep both cards up. Both halves of this card up. Alright, we will... End of turn. Ice your thing to make a token and draw a card. Untap. Draw a card. Play a mountain. Cast Salvager of Secrets. To get back Fire Ice. Pass the turn. Yeah, it's probably fine. Untap. Draw a card. That's not the mana to cast that spell. We'll cast the Chart, of course. Because I don't really care about discarding here. We'll make a token. Draw 2. Probably discard a Prodigal Sorcerer. Play the island for turn. So we get greedy and double cast this ice. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get greedy. So we'll double cast, which will trigger Pyromancer. And then we'll cast ice, tap some of our opponent's things down, and then draw 2 cards because it will get copied, which will trigger Pyromancer again. Draw 2 cards. That's all fine. And then we'll go to combat and attack. Presumably we tap down some blockers and we can get in. Then we will go to untap and draw hopefully a mountain? No, not a mountain. Okay. Well, we will preordain. Scry 2. I like this. So I'll just go ahead and draw that. Put this island on the bottom. We can cast that Shipwreck Dowser if we want. Yeah, let's do that. Let's cast Shipwreck Dowser. Honestly, I'll get back double cast. Get back double cast. Fire Ice is probably the correct answer, but we'll get back double cast because I'm greedy. And then we'll pass the turn. Well, we'll probably attack. Yeah, anyway. Untap my lands. Draw a card. Not a dual land. Okay. We will cast a double cast, which will trigger Young Pyromancer and Prowess. We'll cast a Strategic Planning, which will get copied. So we can look at the top 3. Pull one into my hand. Ral. Negate Invadalian Arcanist in my graveyard. Do it again because we copied it. We'll put the Guild Gate in my hand because Radical Idea we can cast. We'll play the Guild Gate. It's unfortunate that that's an untapped land because we could have unwinded otherwise. Yeah, it's fine. Pass the turn. Well, presumably we'll attack with something. We'll also presumably Essence Scatter something and untap with the ability to cast Niv Mizzet, which will happen. Don't know why there's no reason to not cast Niv Mizzet. Cast Niv Mizzet. Okay, well, I think the deck is working as intended there. That could have the potential to go off, depending on how things work there. So, pretty cool. I think that deck is working. I think it is quite good. Again, not the highest power level commander deck ever built. I definitely put in a couple of, higher mana cost cards that I probably didn't need to. But that's fine. And that's how it goes. You put in some fun stuff. So yeah, I think that is a fine deck to bring to the table now at my regular commander games. Where the last one probably wasn't necessarily the best deck ever. So, and with so much interaction, with so many kill spells and counter spells, it's gonna be hard to tell. I'm gonna have to do some testing in person, but I do know that it kind of does a little bit of what I want to do. I could probably put some more ramp in if I wanted to get to Niv Mizzet faster as well. Anyway, that's all I had for today. Maybe I'll come back and do another upgrade to this later, Maybe I'll do an upgrade to a bunch of different decks. We'll see. So thank you for watching.